In 1973, a man walked into a hospital and told his doctor he was going to die. He wasn't sick. His tests were normal. His heart was fine. But he was absolutely certain a local healer had cursed him as a young man, told him he would die before his next birthday. And now, as that birthday approached, his body was shutting down. His blood pressure was dropping. His organs were beginning to fail. His doctor could find no medical cause. The man died 3 days later. Cause of death? Unknown. But his doctor had a different theory. He believed his patient had been killed by a belief. And the terrifying thing is, the science suggests he might have been right. Most people have heard of the placebo effect. Sugar pill. You believe it works. Sometimes it does. Your pain decreases. Your body heals itself because your mind told it to. The nocebo effect is the exact opposite. Nocebo comes from Latin. Placebo means I will please. Nocebo means I will harm. Same mechanism. Opposite direction. Your mind believes something bad is going to happen, and then your body makes it happen. Not because you're weak, not because you're imagining it, because the connection between your brain and your body is so physical, so chemical, so direct that a thought can trigger the same biological events as an actual injury. And here's what nobody is telling you. It's happening to you right now in ways you've never noticed. Stay with me. The part that changes everything doesn't show up until the end. In the 1990s, a clinical trial was testing a new chemotherapy drug. Some patients got the real drug, others got a saline solution, pure salt water, a placebo, standard procedure. Here's what wasn't standard. 30% of the patients who received only the salt water lost their hair. Not a little hair. Significant hair loss from salt water. Their doctors had told them hair loss was a likely side effect. Their bodies had listened. This is not a metaphor. This is not psychological weakness. This is your nervous system, your immune system, and your endocrine system all responding to a piece of information as if it were a physical event. Your body cannot always tell the difference between what you believe is happening and what is actually happening. And that line, that terrifying blurring of the line, is the nocebo effect. In 2007, a man enrolled in a clinical trial swallowed 29 pills in a suicide attempt. By the time he reached the emergency room, his blood pressure had crashed. He was barely conscious. His doctor described him as near death. Then the trial coordinator arrived with the paperwork. The man was in the placebo group. He had taken 29 sugar pills. Within 15 minutes of being told this, his blood pressure normalized. His symptoms disappeared. He walked out of the hospital the same day. His body had been dying from pills that contained nothing. The moment the belief changed, the body changed with it. Think about what that means. His cardiovascular system had responded to a belief with the same force it would respond to a real overdose. And then it stopped. Because a piece of information told it to. This isn't rare. This isn't fringe science. The nocebo effect has been documented in hundreds of peer-reviewed studies across dozens of countries, and it operates in ways most of us never think about. In 2013, researchers in Australia and Canada studied communities living near wind farms. Some residents reported headaches, dizziness, sleep disruption, and nausea. They blamed the turbines. But when researchers mapped the symptoms against the timeline, they found something nobody expected. The symptoms appeared almost exclusively in communities where residents had been warned before installation that they might experience negative health effects. Communities that received no warning reported almost no symptoms. Same turbines, same distance, same infrasound. The warning had created the disease. Not imagined, not faked. Real symptoms, real suffering, triggered by expectation alone. If you find this unsettling, stay with me, because what comes next is darker. But first, if this is the kind of thing you came here for, subscribe. This channel goes exactly here, every single time. In 1999, researchers studied cardiac patients who had been told they had a serious heart condition. Patients who simply believed their condition was severe, regardless of what their tests actually showed, were significantly more likely to die within 5 years than patients with objectively worse results who believed they would recover. The belief was a better predictor of death than the actual disease. Read that again. The belief was a better predictor of death than the disease itself. This isn't about attitude. This isn't motivation content. This is biology. When your brain perceives a threat, real or believed, it activates your stress response. Cortisol floods your system. Your immune function drops. Inflammatory processes activate. Your cardiovascular system shifts into survival mode. In short bursts, this is useful. Your body is built for it. But if your brain runs that response chronically, because you believe you are sick, because you believe you are cursed, because you believe you are going to die, it tears your body apart from the inside. Researchers at Harvard Medical School found that negative expectation produces measurable changes in the immune system within minutes, not hours, minutes. A thought, a belief, a sentence spoken in the wrong tone at the wrong moment, and your immune system is already different. Here's the part that should make everyone uncomfortable. The nocebo effect doesn't only happen in clinical trials or voodoo curses. It happens in ordinary medicine every single day, and most doctors don't know they're doing it. In 2010, researchers analyzed the language physicians use when describing procedures to patients, saying, "You will feel a sharp sting," before an injection produced significantly more pain than saying, "We're going to help you feel better." Same needle, same patient, different words. The patients who were warned about pain experienced more of it. Not because they imagined it, because their nervous systems had been primed by the language. And then it gets worse. Informed consent, the legal requirement that doctors tell patients about all possible side effects, may itself be one of the most powerful delivery mechanisms for the nocebo effect in existence. The more thoroughly patients are told what might go wrong, the more likely some of them are to experience those exact symptoms. We built a system to protect patients, and that system may be making some of them sicker. Nobody intended this. Nobody wants this. But the science is sitting there. Back to the man in 1973. His doctor tried something desperate. He called the family into the room. He told them he had located the source of the curse. He then performed an elaborate ritual of his own invention, pretending to extract the curse from the man's body through a procedure he created on the spot. For 2 weeks, the man improved dramatically. Then he heard a rumor. The healer had doubled down on the original curse. He died the next morning. The last thing his body responded to was a piece of information. Not a virus, not a tumor, not a wound, a belief. Here's the part people always ask about. Can you just choose not to be affected? Can you just decide to be optimistic and override it? No. And here's why. The nocebo effect operates below the level of conscious decision-making. It runs on the same circuits that regulate your heartbeat and your breathing, circuits you don't control with your thoughts. You cannot think your way out of it the same way you cannot think your heart into beating slower. What you can do is something more subtle. Be careful what information you let in. Be careful who tells you what your body is capable of. Treat statistics with the skepticism they require. A statistic tells you what happened to a population. It cannot tell you what will happen to you. Pay attention to how your doctor speaks to you. Ask for language that empowers rather than primes you for failure. None of this is magical thinking. It is the direct application of what the science actually shows. There is a question that runs underneath all of this. If beliefs can harm us this specifically and this powerfully, what does that mean about the stories we tell ourselves every day? Not just about illness, about everything. The story that you are bad with money, the story that relationships always end badly for you, the story that you are the kind of person things don't work out for. The nocebo effect doesn't care what category the belief is in. It only cares how strongly you hold it. Because every time you repeat a belief about what you are or aren't capable of, your brain is running the same mechanism that made 30% of people lose their hair from salt water. The same mechanism that crashed a man's blood pressure from sugar pills. The same mechanism that killed a man who had a tumor too small to hurt him. Your body is not separate from your mind. It never was. It is listening to everything you say about it, and unlike your conscious mind, it tends to believe what it hears. A doctor told a man he had 3 months to live. The man believed him. He died in 3 months. The tumor was small, it hadn't spread, it wasn't anywhere near killing him. We will never know exactly what killed that man. But his doctor spent the rest of his career convinced it was the prognosis, not the cancer, the sentence. Words are not just sounds. Information is not neutral. What you believe about your body has a physical address inside your nervous system, and it shows up in your blood, your immune cells, your heart. This is not philosophy. This is not self-help. This is one of the most consistently replicated findings in modern medicine that almost nobody talks about. So the next time a doctor speaks to you, pay attention not just to what they say, but how they say it. The next time you read a statistic about your health, remember it describes a population, not you. And the next time you catch yourself repeating a story about what you cannot do, what never works for you, what you will always struggle with, remember that your body is in the room. It is taking notes, and it is very, very good at making your beliefs come true. Subscribe if this one stayed with you. There's more like this coming.